Hi, I'm Andrew Spieler,
And I'm Mary Hope Rennie.
and you're watching or listening to Behind the Sign, real stories from real estate. All right, so we're rolling.
Yes, we are.
How's it going?
Good. This is the first time I've ever done a podcast, so here you go.
Me too, actually.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I've been a guest on a podcast,
I haven't even been a guest
but this
on a
is our
podcast.
first official,
Totally is our first.
right? So let's tell people a little bit about who we are,
Okay.
why we're doing this podcast,
That'd be good.
probably pretty important, and then some of the things that got us into real estate.
Good.
So I'll start. My name is Andrew Spieler, and I am a very new agent. I've only been licensed for 2 years. I've only been through one transaction, but I've been learning a lot from the sidelines, and being here at KW Metropolitan is obviously the best place to be to learn this industry. I mean,
Of course.
you simply can't find any other place with the
Yeah.
education and the
I
outreach
agree.
and the community and the support. There's over 400 agents here, right?
400, a little over 410. 410
410
agents. Yeah.
Wow. And they're all based in Southern New Hampshire, or
So, yep, we have our main office in Bedford, and then we have a business center in Concord, Londonderry, and Keene. So that compiles of all 410 agents within all those business centers
got it.
in Bedford.
And the brokers are licensed to operate in New Hampshire, Mass, Maine,
And Vermont.
and Vermont.
Yep, we have licenses in all those.
Great.
Yeah.
So all of New England.
Pretty much all of New England.
Cool.
Upper New England.
And Mary Hope, what is your role here at KW
Yeah.
Metropolitan?
I'm Mary Hope Rennie, and I'm the team leader, director of agent growth, really. That's what my job is, to manage the agents, the 410 agents, and all that comes with it, but then also to help our agents grow and also introduce agents to this market center and make sure that we provide what they need to be successful in real estate. So that's kind of my job,
That's great.
which
Now,
I love. Yeah.
Question: do other brokerages automatically have that position, or is that something unique to Keller
That's a
Williams?
good question. I would say I'm not the broker of the office.
Yeah.
Alan Rice is our principal broker. I would say that most brokers take on that responsibility. I think team leader and that title or role is more unique to Keller Williams as a whole and Keller Williams International. And they're kind of the boots on the ground helping our agents and bringing agents in and dealing with the day-to-day operations. So a lot of times, especially in smaller brokerages, that is the broker's job.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky to have several of us helping me in that role.
So division of labor in
Absolutely.
leadership. Yeah, especially when you have over 400 agents is
Yeah.
necessary.
Grateful for it.
And now you recently became the team leader, is that correct?
Yes,
Yes.
Officially June 1st.
Congratulations.
However, I've been with Keller Williams for 15 years.
Wow.
So I'm new to this role, ancient to Keller Williams.
It's ancient.
Well, so I got my license in 2009. And I was lucky enough that I was introduced to this this market center to Mark Mulcahy, who was the team leader at that time in 2009. I didn't know any better, thankfully. No, and I joined, and I've been here ever since. But about a year ago, actually it has been September 1st, Mark asked me to be his assistant team leader and to help grow our agents, our education program, kind of right-hand man to him on helping him grow this office into how we could provide services for our agents.
Yeah.
So I've been in-house kind of for the last year. I guess the title itself since June. Is it June? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
June. But I've been loving it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's great.
Not an easy job, but I love working with our agents.
I was going to say probably a pretty big and different shift from being an agent running a team to suddenly being the team leader running a market center filled with other agents and other teams, right?
Yes and no,
Yeah.
actually. So my day-to-day is very different. What I'm doing is the same, meaning helping people.
Yeah.
Meaning looking at what their goals are and what they need to accomplish. I'm a, maybe this isn't the right word. I'm a fixer. I like to see issues and help people walk through that process. And that's what I've done with my real estate business. And I think that's why I loved what I did.
Yeah.
Seeing where someone is and seeing the end goal and carefully walking them through that. That's exactly what agents do.
Yeah.
I would say that's the same thing I do right now.
Yeah.
I have someone who would love to get into real estate or who is in real estate kind of stuck or doesn't know the first steps, and helping them walk through that process. Real estate for me has changed my life. When I joined, I wanted to do this very part-time. This was just something fun. As most agents say when they want to think about getting business, I like houses. I love to see houses.
Yeah.
I love to show houses, which is wonderful. That wears off quickly.
Sure.
So I started that way, and then I realized what it could do for my family.
Yeah.
And it changed our family's life.
So just to back up a little bit,
Yeah.
I think kind of the genesis of this podcast is to try to bring some attention to the realities of the demands of the work of the industry of real estate, right? Which I think
So easy.
I think so. So having had a background out in Hollywood, I understand the we'll say over glamification, perhaps,
Yeah.
of what real estate agents' lifestyles might be like. But just like any job, there's work to be done, right? And if you don't enjoy the work and the process that is inherent in the industry you're entering into, it does get old quick, right? Like you see 30 pretty houses and suddenly, that sheen of I like to see homes.
And you write 17 offers for that one buyer.
Correct, yes, right.
We can love our buyers to death.
Right.
And 17 offers being rejected. It's not fun.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot, right? There's stamina, there's stuff. So, so I guess just to kind of like give a bit of overview for what listeners can expect from this podcast, right? The whole idea behind it is to have this dynamic duo relationship where we have someone who's a very seasoned veteran of the industry and somebody who's
Ancient.
a complete, and we're not going to keep using the word ancient. Ancient's not appropriate. And somebody who's a complete newbie, right?
Yeah.
And then everything kind of in between, just because we have the opportunity, to talk to a lot of different agents, and no two agents are the same.
Absolutely.
They all approach their business very differently, right? But a lot of the sort of same core values and sentiments of why they're in this and why they keep doing it, I think are pretty consistent. And hearing from them and hearing their voices are what we kind of want to champion on the podcast. And also to ideally engage with the listeners, and anybody who's out there who's thinking, boy, I've always thought about it. I've always had an interest in it. I don't even know where to begin or if it is really the right fit. And this being sort of a bit of a communal entry point for people to start having a discussion, reaching out and asking questions, and hopefully things that we can answer. Because we do want this to be entertaining. I'm sure we've got plenty of stories.
That's entertaining in what way? Yes, absolutely. But I think, to be honest, too, what you really bring to the table is exactly what you were saying is you're a newbie, but you also came from Hollywood, that industry, a whole different perspective, and dove in, you're on a team, you were ready to sell 100 houses, and realized, and I dare to say this, realized that your part in real estate might have been different than when you jumped in.
Sure. Yep.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
And that's why we're sitting here, because you had a vision and you realized, not to take words out of your mouth, but I think what you saw is we don't have enough at agents' fingertips to be able to put out to the world what they are offering, what their business involves, why they're getting paid what they're getting paid.
Right.
All of those things.
Yeah.
And I've seen your work with our agents and on the out of the studio, in the studio, and including my team, rebranding and all of that. And so I love that you jumped into real estate, which I think everybody thinks, how do I get into real estate? You get your license.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
But not everyone is meant to do the day-to-day and sell 50 homes every year.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Well, and it's the kind of thing too where I think, you know, my whole background being from the entertainment industry, which is a complete departure from real estate. Everybody comes, I think, most people seem to come from a previous life, right? Whether it's a previous career or a previous location, you know, a unique set of circumstances, and then they find themselves in real estate because it is an accessible industry, right?
Yeah.
You can go and you can get licensed
Pretty easily.
Yeah, pretty easily. It doesn't mean that like anybody can do it, right?
No.
But it does sort of offer an opportunity for those who are looking for a shift or a change.
It's a pretty easy shift to get your license.
Correct. And then once you kind of get into it, you start realizing like, okay, well, the things that I was maybe good at in my previous career actually can carry over and translate into a new way in real estate. But you do have to go through this kind of, you know, sort of rebirth process, right? Of sort of deciding like, okay, like what makes me unique as an agent? Because there are a lot of agents, right? I mean, how many in the state of New Hampshire alone? There's 1,500,
I don't even know.
something like that.
Right? It's a few. It's a few. But I also think even really successful agents do business very differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
They all do it well and ethically if they're successful. But my technique and how I sell real estate and what drives me and what my clients expect from me is very different than my co-broke over here. And we can be excellent agents. But if you're trying to be just like everyone else, that's where we kind of hit walls and really figuring out what you love to do. Because like we said, showing houses gets old quickly.
Yeah, right.
But helping people, if you don't like helping people, it's a really hard industry because people are difficult to work with.
Yeah, well, I would argue that, you know, it's at the end of the day, you're not here to sell homes.
No.
You're here to
sell yourself,
and you're working with people. You're not working with the homes. The homes are the shell. They are the, you know, byproduct of the process in a way. But really, it's you finding your way into creating relationships with people that allow for those fruitful kind of opportunities to help them problem solve, to help them get at whatever it is that they need, and to kind of be a bit of a guide, you know. And to back up for our listeners too, what I've been working on for the last, year and a half now is designing, implementing, and installing a micro media studio here, as you see, at the Keller Williams Metropolitan Brokerage, as an asset for not just the agents in the walls here, but to all of the small businesses and all the other affiliated partners and vendors and folks who are looking to come in to sort of have a resource and an outlet to market themselves without having to go to the top shelf marketing agencies out there that, by all means, for the most part, many small businesses simply can't afford, right? And especially if you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur or whatever, that's a high price tag. So it's sort of this mid-ground here option and kind of unique. But what I see a lot coming in the door of the agents who are members and taking advantage of what we're offering is they all kind of come in going, okay, I know I'm unique, but I've never really sat down and figured out what makes me unique, right? Like, what is it about me that we're doing? And so we joke, and it's kind of like doing brand therapy because we're sort of diagnosing like, all right, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What did you do before real estate? What is it that you want to be known for? And more importantly, how are those things going to guide you to your most ideal clients? Because I think the biggest mistake that I saw happening, again, this is me being a newbie speaking, is you're new, so you're hungry. You need money. You say yes to anybody and everyone, right? And then before you know it, you're working with what I call energy vampires who are just sucking the life out of you, right? And you go, man, this just isn't worth it. Like, I'm doing all this work. I'm writing 17 offers on, you know, a single home every 3 weeks for these people, and nothing's biting, you know? Versus taking that time up front to kind of define yourself to then be able to attract the people that you know you're going to work really, really well with, you know?
And I think to go off of that, I think knowing what you need as a skill base. So we're all unique, but also we're working with people's biggest asset usually.
Right.
their biggest investment of their life.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're like, this is fun. We show houses. This is their biggest investment.
Yeah.
And
High emotional stakes.
high emotional stakes, high financial stakes. And it's an easy bar to get into real estate. It's not an easy bar to be successful in real estate. And
Right.
yet I see so much potential in agents. And that's probably why I love this new role I'm taking on, because I see the potential in my clients. That's
Yep.
easy. Not easy, but I see it.
More
There's a start to
identifiable. Yeah.
finish. It's a 3 to 6 month process. Boom. For agents, it's who am I? What skill set do I need? And then how do I make money in this? And how do I put myself in uncomfortable positions? Anyway, it's really exciting, and it requires a person to put themselves in a place that they probably have never put themselves in, running their own business. And I think a lot of people say, oh, I become a realtor, now what? This is your own business. And if you build it like a business and create a business and put a structure for a business,
Yeah.
you can be really successful.
Yeah.
However, unfortunately, I don't know exactly what the numbers are now, but about 80% of agents don't make it through 2 years.
Well, the majority of small businesses,
yeah.
think, fail in their
You're
first
right.
3 years, right? It's like 90% failure rate.
There you go. So we have a better failure rate than the main small business. No, I do feel like that, and I don't say that as like, oh my gosh, that's going to be hard to get into. But it's not given to you in
Right.
real estate. You're not handed a job. It's not a job. You don't clock in.
No, yeah.
And so the more you can pour in, and to be honest, like I said before, thankfully I got introduced to this office from the beginning. I didn't know what I was getting into, but the support and education is so crucial because you're running your own business. And even experienced agents, if they do not get the support continuously and educate themselves and grow, I know we hit ceilings.
Yeah.
We have our, oh, there we go. See, this is my first time doing a podcast.
We hit mics.
We hit mics and we hit ceilings. But we have our natural skill set that is different for everyone, and we hit that ceiling. And unless we have people to advise and grow, we're not going to be able to really bring it to that next level. And that's what's so exciting about my new job and what we're doing here to allow agents to get into the realm of marketing themselves when they're not a marketing major.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm excited. These are opportunities for agents and for also our partners
Yeah.
to be able to show all the different avenues of real estate. And I'm excited to see what this brings because we don't know who our
Yeah.
next guest will be.
That's right.
We
yeah.
might know where maybe one guest will be, but
Sure, yeah.
So we really, I would love to know what our audiences would like from us. What would be helpful? Because you and I could talk all day.
Yeah.
We know that. But they might not want to just hear from us. I would like to see who would they like us to talk to.
Yeah.
Top agents, middle agents, new agents, lenders.
Yeah.
What else have we talked about? Title
Yeah.
companies.
Well, I think, at the end of the day, there's a lot of podcasts out there about real estate.
Oh,
right?
of course.
A lot of them focus on, they'll start, there's the public facing podcasts, which are really more sort of market based,
Yeah.
right? Like this is what's happening. And, they're sort of market hawks,
Yeah.
talking about things. And that's great, if
Yeah,
you're,
that's
you're
not
into
gonna be
that,
us.
right? No, not going to be us.
I don't know my numbers. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And then there's plenty of people too who have podcasts who talk about sort of like, what it's like as far as being an agent, and it's really a guide for just other agents,
Yeah.
right? Just sort of like, navigating the waters. And the idea, I think, behind this is to be a bit of a local hybrid model
Yeah.
where we're going to talk about what it takes to be an agent,
Yeah.
right? But also for those who have no interest in becoming a real estate agent, but just have an interest in real estate in general,
Which
or
I
looking to buy or sell.
would argue 95% of people are interested
yeah,
in real estate.
yeah.
That's what's so neat about this. We're not talking about washers and dryers
Right,
that you
yeah.
only need every 5 years.
Yeah.
We all live in houses.
Yeah, and it's a dynamic,
Yeah.
evolving thing because the market does shift, right? So there is always plenty of things to sort of be
Oh, yeah.
looking at and addressing. And,
Yep.
and obviously at some point we're going to have Mr. Bill Weidecker, I'm
Of
sure,
course.
on the show, along with Diane Davidson, his wife, because they have a podcast called Good Deeds as part
Yeah.
of their Fine Homes team. And
They are the pros
and they,
of the market.
talk about market analysis, pretty impressive. I get to listen to them recording here every week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do want to be sort of an open forum for those who want to learn more about whatever topic they have an interest in as it relates to real estate. And the beauty of it is that agents also interface with all kinds of folks, from
Yep.
plumbers to appraisers to
Inspectors.
painters, inspectors, house cleaners. Like there's so many people that it takes to
Electricians,
actually
yeah.
get a home ready, depending upon what state it is, whether it's new construction,
Yep.
a remodel, or just getting something, prepped
Yeah.
for a listing. So there's kind of endless opportunity for exploration of topics. I think this is really more to kind of grease the rails for what you can expect going forward. I think next episode here, we'll probably dive a little more. I'd love to learn more about, what got you into the
Yeah,
industry.
we didn't even,
what you
yeah.
did.
And
Right.
same with you.
Yeah, and just to give everybody sort of like, the 10,000 foot view on who you're listening to.
Who
here,
are we?
And if you want to continue listening to us, so that the vantage points and the questions that we're asking of our guests are going
Makes
to be
sense. Yeah.
very very unique and very different. So
Good.
yeah, well, I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Good.
I think I survived my first podcast. I
think
hope
so. Yep. I'm looking at your levels literally on the mixer, and everything looks good
Oh,
here.
good.
So, hey, that's
they
good.
could hear me. That would have been sad if
Yeah,
this
that-
whole time I was recording
Yeah, it
and
would
said all
really-
these amazing things and
really
nothing
be
was
bummed if nothing was being recorded
Yeah.
right now. That would not be good. Okay, great. Well, I'm looking
excited.
forward to our next one, and we're going to start recording these, and we should be releasing them on a weekly
That's
basis.
the hope.
You'll be able to find this on any podcast platform that you listen to, as well as on our YouTube channel. So we'll have the information for that once we get going.
Perfect.
And we'll have an email that you can reach out to us, which is going to be create@kwmetrostudios.com. So if you have questions, send them that way.
Yep.
And this is great.
I'm excited. Thanks, Andrew. And let's see where this goes. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Behind the Sign, Real Stories from Real Estate.
We hope you enjoyed today's conversation and gained a little insight into the world behind those for sale signs.
Today's episode was brought to you by Keller Williams Realty Metropolitan, proudly serving New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, and Massachusetts. A special thank you to our agents, leadership, and partners at KW Metro for their continued support.
And thanks to you, our amazing listeners and viewers. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Leave us a review or comment. We love hearing your feedback, and it helps more people discover the show.
And if you have a real estate story you'd like to share or a question you want answered on a future episode, reach out to us at metro.kw.com or find us on Instagram, handle @KWMetroNH.
Until next time, we'll see you
Behind the sign.